Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Has your mind been blown today? Have you had a great time today? This is just a fantastic group of people. I am so excited to be here with my distinguished guests. My name is Gatimu. I work at Microsoft. I'm accountable for all of the user enablement for Microsoft Copilot services and Microsoft 365. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about AI strategy from a business and leadership perspective. And I have some fantastic folks with me to help do that. But let's just hop right into the conversation, all right? So let's go to that next framing question that we have. You know, when companies are thinking about adopting AI as a business capability, should they be thinking about their data estate first or go right to generative AI models and projects? Why don't you share with me first and tell everyone who you are.
Vipin Gopal, Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Walgreens, Walgreens Boots Alliance. Prior to that, I was the Chief Data and Analytics Officer for Eli Lilly and Company, and before that, I led data analytics at Humana, the payer organization. So I've been through a few industries over my career, and again, you know, 3 Fortune 100 companies over the last few years. So delighted to be on the panel. So to answer your question, Caruana, data and AI, Gen AI, go hand in hand. I don't think there is a sequence that one can prescribe because data is fundamental to building AI models and vice versa. So it depends on the use case. What are you trying to do? And it depends on the context and the industry. And one thing I would say is when it comes to adoption in large companies, whether data comes first or Gen AI comes first is, I would say, just one of the considerations that we think about. There are broader set of topics from a strategy perspective and adoption perspective that we got to consider.
Absolutely. What are you seeing, Lior? Share your background. You have an interesting background as well.
Would love to. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me on the panel. Lior, founder and CEO of Uber Freight. That's Uber for freight. It's one of the largest logistics network now in the US. We have half of all the truck drivers on our platform, managing $20 billion of freight under management, and we've started that business over the last 8 years. Before that, led the product for Motorola Mobility. Before that, led the product for Google Maps. Before that, in the nuclear winter of artificial intelligence, I happened to be aspiring PhD students for neural networks back in the day. So it's great to see how far has the field evolved. I think I'll agree with Vipin, it's both, but I'll actually take it one notch above. Like any tool in life, AI is a tool, so it starts with what do you want to do with it? What's the strategy? What's the use case? Where are you going to actually exert your energy? What are you trying to solve? Because like anything else in life, we're going to talk about the obstacles. It's going to be hard, it's going to take time, it's going to take organizational energy. So you need to first start. It begins, I think, first and foremost of what are you trying to accomplish. That's, I think, the first part of the sequencing. And then, to Vipin's point, I think it's both data and AI. What I like about AI, and we'll show some of the stuff we're doing later with LLM, it shines the light on any data issue you have in your organization. You cannot hide anymore because LLM will expose your data issues, your data fragmentation, your table issues, your system issues, and I love that. So it's a chicken and egg, because if you do LLM, then a precondition will be to fix all of that data issue. And if you do LLM right, then it's actually a forcing function, an incentive for the organization to get their act together on data. So I think they go hand in hand, and my hope, sort of like tackling data in organization for the past couple of decades, that LLM will accelerate the understanding that data is a critical infrastructure for the organization, and you can't be successful without it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask the stage crew, the technical team, to put up our slide on value realization, because there's a part of this conversation that I want to get your feedback on. One of the things that we see very clearly is that when folks start out with these AI projects, we did some research with some large organizations, they tend to think about cost savings. They think about productivity gains and efficiencies and the bottom line. But the more experience they have as an organization and they start to realize value with generative AI, then they start thinking about business growth and the top line. I'm of the opinion that we should switch those things around. But what do you think is the barrier to actually being able to do that, to start with business growth rather than starting with cost savings? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think I probably would take an intermediate approach to this. Focus on top revenue growth aspect as well as cost savings. I think when you sort of think about this in various industries, what do we think about when we talk about LLMs, right? It's mostly generating text, videos, pictures, et cetera. But when you think about this in the context of an industry, think about pharmaceutical industry. What can Gen AI approach do? It can generate molecular designs. Is this something that we typically think about when we are having a discussion on LLMs? No. So when you come to specific industries, generating molecular designs for the pharmaceutical industry is a top-line growth activity. Generating new molecules that can address certain diseases and conditions is absolutely a top-line growth activity. And at the same time, I think the organizations should really be in a position to capture cost savings activities as well. And there are two things that I see as important, right? One is really identifying the use cases that make a difference for that particular company in that industry. Every company is unique. And really getting to the right use cases at the right time is so important in value creation. And then second, it's about culture in the organizations. Culture across the organizations and also leadership championship of AI-based approaches and projects. The organizations, I'm not talking about, I'm now talking more about non-digitally born companies. I'm not talking about digitally born companies. In non-digitally born companies, the companies that are successful in creating value does these two things very well. Use case identification and changing the culture for AI adoption.
You must have read my webpage. I am so excited. He said everything I say like all the time, right? My team delivers adoption at Microsoft.com. We run worldwide communities. This really is a differentiating factor, and we saw it in our early adopter program for Copilot, that the organizations who had this muscle developed around cultural transformation, workforce transformation, ongoing skilling, they had an easier time implementing their AI strategy as a whole because they were already investing in those people. But I feel like here that, we're in some really rarefied air at this event. When we go back out into the world and you go back to your company, how are we continuing to drive this forward from a leadership perspective? Like, we can learn together and we can understand this, but there's many, many organizations in the world who don't understand the value realization model or what that, and the phases, or this idea of how to, handle data governance and build an organization that is on this continuous learning journey. What do you think about that, Lior?
Yeah, I think leadership is so important and change management is so important, and it's something we need to talk more about. I mean, for us, I think we have one sort of leg in the tech universe. Half of the team is amazing technologists in San Francisco and amazing data scientists from Uber. Half of the team is those amazing logistics experts in like Arkansas and Chicago and Mexico. So it's more sort of like a conservative. And we had to start from the top, for me, of just creating permission for the organization to actually spend time on AI. Like, we cleared 2 days off everybody's calendar, and we've organized a hackathon. To Vipin's point, like on use case identification, we didn't know what's the use case, but we said, hey, let's give permission for the organization from the top to actually innovate. We had 15 teams across the company, from engineers and logistics professionals coming together, and for 2 days just hacking the best ideas. Then we had our use cases. Then, to your point on the framework that also came from the top, we said, let's really focus on what is best for customers and creating value for customers first and foremost. Basically, if we can do that, back to leadership and energy, we can create energy throughout the organization to even do more. So I don't know if you can move to the next slide.
I think you have an example of this, right?
And show you an example of what we ended up on, and maybe another click will play the.
Yes,
okay, it's going. So what you see here is an example of what we ended up launching, which is essentially is Copilot for logistics. This is an LLM, NLP search box for logistics professional. We have like 200 of the Fortune 500 companies basically outsource their logistics to us. And what this allows those SVP of supply chain and directories to now, with LLM, understand everything on their transportation data and ask any question they want on what's happening with their supply chain in the organization, where they're paying, who are they paying to, where they're losing money, where are they getting penalties, what are the inefficiencies, what are the service metrics, and I can go on and on and on and on. You see here, it's basically sort of like bikes for the mind of supply chain professionals. But that is, as you can see, is a top-line grower, is a growth grower, because this is something, a carrot we can dangle in front of our most important and strategic customers. And that's where we chose where to start, in the hardest challenge, where the stakes are highest, because if we get that wrong, and now we get it 97% right in human eval on all of those queries, then we get our most exciting customers excited. And with that, we can have energy to all the OPEX and bottom line decreases and all of the other very important stuff. So we've launched that. We've worked on it for 9 months since the hackathon, many obstacles. We've launched that a month ago. I was just telling you, yesterday we had our leadership meeting with the deepest skeptical logistics expert you can imagine that don't even know how to spell AI. I love them, but they don't. And I was expecting, we had a prioritization exercise, I was expecting them to vote to reduce resources on this initiative. They were the first one to stood up and suggested we accelerate. Why? Because they saw the success, they saw the customer, we created energy in the organization. Now it's not just the visionary AI leader that happened to have a master in neural networks, it's those people that saw success, we created the energy, and now it's permeating throughout the company.
That is such a success story. So who in this audience thinks that they're a leader in AI? Okay, every single person here, you should have put your hand up. Every single person, because what he's describing is owning the narrative and leading and really helping people understand the value to them. You created aha moments at scale in your organization. I know you're doing the same thing. This is what we all need to do. So if you're here, you're a leader in AI. And if you're a leader in AI, you need to know how to tell a narrative and tell a story, and then allow other people to go on that journey to understand why it matters to them in their world, people who are not technologists like all of us, or innovators, and folks who are inventing and reimagining the world, right? So we have a couple minutes left, but I also want to delve on the other side of this. Like, what are the things that you really feel like are the biggest obstacles to achieving value, to not only realizing value from an AI strategy perspective, but bringing people along and building these leaders of the future, like everyone here?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the culture theme, but talk a little bit more. So what does it mean that you got to enable a cultural transformation? And my current company, we've been around for 120 years. Now, my prior company has been around for 140 years. How do we change these deep-rooted cultures to do things in a different way when the companies have been successful in their business for more than a century? And that's where the cultural transformation is so important. Transformation is not about teaching data science teams how to do better data science. It's not about teaching the technical teams how to excel better. It's about teaching the entire organization how to run the business differently and do their jobs differently. So an example of a tactic that I used was, in my prior role, we created a data and analytics institute, and our goal was to upskill every single employee of the company in this space. It's not the data science teams, it is every single employee in the company. That is what it takes to really enable a large-scale transformation, because we want every single employee of the company to think differently. We are in the AI age, where a lot of value can be created and companies can transform to do things differently than in the past. So that is an important aspect. And also with leadership, business leaders who are having significant roles in the company need to think differently as well. And that's the other transformation activity, because if they don't set the directions, the rest of their organizations will not be able to transform as they should. So again,
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. Embrace reinvention. That is the thing. Bring us home with one last thought, Lior.
I'll just add on the obstacles. We need to give it a bit of time. We need the organizational changes. We need the leadership. I think we are all in this room because we know the promise of AI and LLM. This is not always like a rosy road to the success and this story that you saw that we've accomplished. It took time. It took patience. It took 9 months of trial and error. It took sort of going for the value of death of the skeptics saying it's never going to work. It took some conviction. It took some patience. And I think you need also that to overcome all the obstacles and create that energy and change.
Excellent. Well, the next time someone asks you if you're a leader in AI, put your hand up. Put your hand up. Absolutely. There you go. Okay, yeah, not tentative. Put your hand up. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. There you go. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's